Hi, I'm Leah Swanberg. Welcome to the key steps of looking fabulous in your everyday makeup. So foundation is the final step in evening out your skin. So there's two main types of foundations, a powder and a liquid. So today for the liquid foundation, I'll be using the Dottie & Ayres Silk Complexion Full Cover Foundation. It's a thicker consistency and gives great coverage. When applying your foundation, you can use your fingers. Today I'll be showing you application with a brush. So there are two main brushes that you can use, a fluffier stipple brush and a flatter, more dense foundation brush. So before you start applying it to the face, I always take a small amount out onto the back of my hand. A really good rule of thumb of how much product you need is the size of the opening of the jar. So if it's a really fine one, like the Dottie & Ayres, you don't need a huge amount of product. I start with a small amount on the back of my hand, and using the denser foundation brush, I'm going to start in the center of the face because you want the majority of the product through the middle and then fan out as you get to the outer ears and hairline. So I start through the center and I work in a slightly downward motion, outwards and downwards. And that's because we do have little fine facial hairs, which is good not to get matted when you're working with the foundation. So start near the nose and work out towards the jaw and ear. As you're going, blend and buff down into the jawline so that you don't have any sharp demarcation lines. And as you get to the forehead, working upwards, you want the majority of the product near your eyebrows and then working and fanning it up as you get towards the hairline. You can work your foundation over the lip area. This gives you a really good canvas to start when you get to the lipstick and will help hold that in place. Another tip for your foundation, and it's really good stage to actually correct any issues that you may have had with your eyeshadow application. Coming up around the eye area, sweep your brush from underneath. You're going to blend your foundation slightly in with your concealer and then take the brush toward the outer corner of the eye and sweep it upwards. That's going to help with if you brought your eyeshadow a little bit far out, you can correct any issues there. Remember to just blend gently over the areas that you have used your corrector and concealer to blend that with the foundation. One point when you're applying your foundation, if you do feel like you've removed some of the corrector, don't be afraid to come back and just spot a little more in that area and blend with your foundation. Moving on to the powder foundation, this can be used as a standalone foundation or in addition to the liquid. It just really depends on how much coverage you like. If you're someone that likes a fairly heavy coverage of foundation, then use the two foundations together. Otherwise, if you just want a quick day-to-day, very light coverage, your mineral powder is fantastic. The application of the mineral foundation is best used with a kabuki brush. This is quite a dense brush, but it is fluffy. So by swirling that, I usually use what's in the lid of your container. So tip a little bit of product into the lid, swirl your brush into the lid, and then I do always tap the excess either by tapping it onto the table or onto the back of your hand. The reason for that is that it doesn't, you don't get a huge amount of product in one spot as you start applying. Start in the cheek area and really don't be afraid to buff quite firmly. The powder does distribute better and develop the colour better if you're pressing it into the face as you go. So in a circular motion, you would buff that all over the face. You can cover your eyes, cover your lip area, and that covers the whole face. We're going to move on to translucent powder. If you weren't using the mineral powder in addition to your liquid, you would use a translucent powder. So this is just a really light, it can be actually quite white in its colouring. It doesn't go onto the skin white, it is a translucent cover that sets and dries your foundation. I do love the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydro Powder. This is a really fine powder that really does also help with fine lines, reducing fine lines, minimising pores, and it's a bit like a skincare product in a powder. This is applied just with a fluffy powder brush. So quite a large brush. It doesn't have to be overly dense. It's just about distributing a small amount of powder over the foundation particularly through the nose and cheek and chin area. Dusting a little bit over the cheeks as well, because it also helps set the foundation so that your blush and contour doesn't grab moist foundation. So your skin should be looking fantastic now, and we'll be moving on to contouring in our next episode. We'll see you then.